It's Friday night fun here in the Bay Area, and it's the most wonderful time of the year. We have NCAA women's gymnastics on tap as the number 15 Stanford Cardinal host the number 23 Carolina Tar Heels in a conference clash as the ACC goes bi-coastal. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jenna Becerra alongside gymnastics insider Casey Magnuson. The Gym Heels have come all the way here out to the West Coast to take on the card. Two ranked programs we're seeing. What are each trying to get out of tonight's competition?
Well, they're very close in the rankings, but what they're looking for is slightly different. Stanford's going to go for a 197. Carolina, they're going to want to continue that momentum and hit a 196 tonight.
The Cardinal off to a great start this season, unbeaten so far after a great end to last season, largely led by seniors Anna Roberts and Brenna Nolt.
And these two athletes are both true all-arounders. They are great on every event, but watch out for the powerhouse Anna Roberts on vault. She's amazing in the air, and it's just a question of if she's going to hit the landing. Brenna, on the other side, is intentional, and she is amazing to watch on beam every single time she goes out.
The vault and the beam leader in the ACC right there. And on North Carolina's side, the freshman JoJo Valahovic getting it done. Can't talk about their team without her.
Oh, she had an incredible vault last week at home, completely stuck at that Yurchenko 1.5. They need that depth because tonight their star Lali Dekanoitsa is out sick, so they're going to need her to step up.
They'll need that from the upperclass and the underclassmen as well. Isabel Schaefer, another one to keep an eye on tonight. Stanford unbeaten in the ACC and overall. North Carolina looking for its first win in conference in the matchup in Maples Pavilion. Seats are starting to fill here in Maples Pavilion as we are nearly ready for the first rotation. There's head coach Dana Durante for North Carolina. Head coach Tabitha Yim ready with her squad for Stanford. Starting off quickly, we will start with the vault for Stanford going as the home team, the Olympic order, and North Carolina on the bars. Casey, what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I'm looking to see if these two teams can continue that great start to their seasons. Both of them did not have an excellent start last year. Both were in the low 194s or below for Stanford, but this year they have been looking really strong. It's that time of year. Everyone came back from the holidays, brought all of their germs with them, so both teams mentioned that there's some illness going around. So what you're looking for tonight is see who can power through that, those little hiccups, those difficulties, but still deliver a consistent lineup top to bottom on all four events.
We're seeing some beautiful Leos so far, too. We talked about how pretty the Carolina blue is. They're blue and white today, whereas Stanford on the other side with the black and cardinal, but such a cool theme with their Leos. It emulates the Golden Gate Bridge lit up at night, and you can see it in the background as Tabitha Yim is getting pumped up for this one.
Love when those Bay Area teams represent our local landmarks, and it's looking good. So for Stanford, starting off on the vault, if you're maybe new to watching gymnastics, the best thing to look at is the landings. It's the most obvious deduction. It's the place where the judges are always going to take if there is a step. But if you're eagle-eyed, if you're experienced, what I want you to look for is what I call the pre-flight. So once the athlete's feet hit the springboard and before their hands touch the vault, you want those legs together the entire time. Sometimes athletes will start to twist a little early on the table. Their feet might come apart. So you want feet together the entire skill.
Setting the tone for the Cardinal is freshman Kendra Chang.
So Kendra Chang here, she's a freshman. She's going to be doing that Yurchenko full. It starts out of a 995. So you have to optimize on cleanliness, hit the landing. Good control there, little hop back, fairly clean in the air. A good start for this Stanford.
They're excited with that one. Take another look.
You can see maybe just a little bit of piking at the end, but very solid lead off for them.
Cardinal thrilled with that one, and Julia Noer on the other side for Carolina, the senior on the bars.
And when we were talking to head coach Dana Durante, she said Julia has been working really hard on her release move. It is a ganger. She has a huge ganger, but watch for the very end, making sure, again, feet together, just like in everything, Here she goes. Big up. Loses the feet just a little bit. That's the one spot she's been zoning in on to improve this season because the amplitude is there. Good bail to handstand. They're looking for the handstands to be vertical, just like that one before. The dismount, winding up, full in. Small pace forward, but that was a good lead off too. You could see she left her chest down just a little bit, and when your body weight's on your toes, it's gonna force you to take that step forward. Big ganger there, beautiful.
Of all the angles, our crew able to help us show you. So the first routine for the bars in the books. Up next, Alana Walker, ACC Freshman of the Week a couple of weeks ago.
And Alana also does this Yurchenko full, but she really makes the most of it. A lot of power. That's what the judges are looking for to separate the good from the great. Big up. Almost gets the stick there. She just needed to absorb maybe a little bit more. But this is a good place for them to be in. It's little details. You see, nice and laid out. Just at the end, didn't quite have enough.
Her teammate Kendra Chang with a 9.750 in the books to lead things off. We'll move over to Nev King, one of the King twins, sophomores on this Carolina team. Over on bars.
Now on bars, again, if you are maybe a newer fan, the handstands is something I always talk about. They need to be perfectly up and down. Stuck landings, of course, but if you're looking to maybe advance your home judging skills, I'd say watch for the in-between skills. Nev does a Maloney to pack, which is what a lot of athletes are doing to get their start values up. It's a very valuable combination. The thing you have to watch out for is making sure the legs stay together even on the backswing. So she'll catch the bar for that Maloney. She's going to swing backwards. The legs need to stay together. The feet need to stay together the entire time. Good handstands there. Watch here. A little bit of leg separation in the middle. Pulls it back. You know, that's one of those skills, those deductions that the judges don't always catch if it's close together because they are looking from the side. They don't get this 3/4 angle that we're looking at, but they'll see that beautiful handstand into a stalder, showing off her flexibility. Extremely difficult to do those stalders. They look deceptively easy and dials in a stuck landing.
First stick of the night from Nev King.
You can see here that stalder into the handstand, a little muscly, but she is able to tap hard, get that double tuck. Chest is in the perfect position to stick that landing.
Alana Walker with the 9.775. She'll hand things over to the senior Brenna Nolt. Made the preseason watch list for the ACC.
Like I said, Brenna's an all-arounder. She's great on every event. This is maybe the one place she is not the strongest. She has a very difficult 10-0 start value, full-on flip pony, style vault. It's difficult to get a lot of power out of that. She's done a great job through her 4 years to improve it. Just that hop back. But this is, as I said, starts out of a 10-0, so she has a little bit of advantage over those first two vaults. So if they looked similar in cleanliness, she's going to score maybe a little bit higher.
Stanford trending in the right direction so far on vault. Julia Noer with a 9.75, and now it's Kaya Forbes, the junior who Dana Durante told us to keep an eye on tonight.
She is an athlete. I love to watch her gymnastics. The way she performs everything is just so effortless and effervescent. Just like that first handstand. She was up there for 2 hours, I think, in perfect vertical. She has really long lines, which really makes her gymnastics pretty. But sometimes with those long legs, it's a little easier to see when things go a little bent or not quite feet together. She's doing a great job here. You can see these giants really extended, full in, just the pace back. But it's still good routine. You know, they're not having any obvious deductions. That's what they want, especially tonight, to build upon the momentum for the last home meet.
And a big smile there from Kaya Forbes. Brenna Nolt had that 10-0 start value, 9.825 in the books, and now it's Carolyn Wynn's turn.
Watch the landing position here for Tara Lynn. She lands up onto an 8-inch mat because she has so much power, but it's also there to protect the ankles. Big Yurchenko 1.5. Oh, that was one of her best vaults I've ever seen her compete. You know, Tara Lynn never is lacking in the power, but this was one of the most controlled landings I've seen from her yet.
A win for Tara Lynn right there. See her teammates getting fired up for her after that. And Stanford trending up so far in the vault.
Yeah, she is hot to go on that one. Really dialed in the landing. Like I said, that's the one spot that maybe Tara Lynn struggles with, but she put herself in that perfect position by really having a long, extended body that allowed her to perfectly time the rotation.
On the bars, Nev King with a 9.8 and Kaya Forbes 9.75. Looking at Gwen Fink getting ready.
So bars is definitely a place where I think this UNC team really shines. You've seen some good difficult skills. We've seen single bar releases. We've gone back and forth. Gwen's gonna do a nice straddle Jaeger here. So watch, she does that half turn right on top of the bar. Big straddle Jaeger. So far, very clean routine. Hitting her handstands. Looking very confident. Double layout. And just a little hop back, but still, that is another good build. I think her routine was a little bit cleaner on the bars, and the judges should reward that.
Gwen Fink, just so athletic. Actually played 5 different sports before she focused on gymnastics.
Double out, you saw her chest was up. She just had slight too much rotation there.
Ana Paula Gutierrez, the senior AP, ready for Stanford on vault.
AP is going to be our first Yurchenko 1.5 we see tonight. It's a 10-0 start value. Very controlled landing. That's what we've come to expect from AP. Meet in and meet out. She is always hitting it just like that, maybe a little hop forward, sometimes the stick. But that's a reliable vault you're going to want in your arsenal, for sure.
Great performance as she shares some laughs there with the associate head coach, Vince Smurrow. Going back over to the bars, this is Isabel Schaefer, who we talked about at the top of the hour. Fink had a 9.775 that she put in the books. Now it's Isabel's turn.
And Isabel is excellent on this event. She was the 2024 ACC runner-up on bars. The only person to beat her, her teammate, Lali Dekanoinsa. So you can see here, her half pirouette is so precise on the top of the bar. That's what set her apart. And then when she catches that straddle release, it is extended. Really strong routine here. You can see the difference where an athlete has the details of those feet together in everything they do. Very, very clean through that full in dismount as well. That's a place where a lot of athletes will have the heels or the ankles come apart. Not her. Beautiful, beautiful routine. Just that hop forward at the end. Watch here, this straddle Jaeger, she's reaching all the way out to catch that. And in this dismount, again, so clean. The knees, the heels, the ankles, everything is together throughout. That is beautiful gymnastics.
All ACC on that event last year. And now Anna Roberts, the anchor for the Cardinal.
Now, when I talked about pre-flight, Anna is the one to watch. She gets so much power off of the table because she has a beautiful pre-flight. Feet are together, arms are extended, straight, and almost gets the stick there. You know, if you blinked, it probably counted as a stick. Maybe a little shotgun in your eye, but that was excellent. When she's in the air, watch, so clean, so laid out. Gonna take a second look here. Watch where she lands with her chest up. That is the position you should be landing in. Picture perfect from Anna Roberts.
Reigning national vault champion from just a year ago. A good note to end on for Stanford in this rotation, but Bella Miller now, the anchor on bars for North Carolina.
new face here on the bars. Usually Lolly's the one finishing off this rotation, so big spot for her to step in. You know, sometimes when they have someone out, they'll move people back in the lineup, but instead they just slotted her into Lolly's tonight. Nice big release. She was really extended on that catch there, almost on her fingertips, but she handled it fine. Good handstand there. That full pirouette just a little late into an open double tuck, and she is so excited for that. Bella's not someone that we have seen in this bars lineup, but you can tell she is fired up. She made it through that routine. Really helped her team out there too by keeping them on a good, consistent momentum forward into the next rotation.
She was only in one bars lineup last year, but doing a nice job here. And Anna Roberts with the 995 to end it, as the first rotation is in the books, 49.250 for Stanford. For the Gym Heels, looked like this, the inaugural ACC championship, they were able to get third and also finishing in the top 50 as a squad.
Yeah, they are, as you can see, coming on strong. At the end of the year, they had several meets over 196. Like, that's their goal today, but they had a lot of 194s at the beginning, which kept them down in the rankings and out of the postseason.
And wrapping up that last rotation on bars, Bella Miller, 9725. Stanford currently leading after the first rotation, but Stanford, on the other hand, started off 52nd the first week last season, ended up 5th in the country by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think they got very comfortable with that Cinderella story in the postseason, but coming out strong this year. No Cinderella. They're going to be royalty all year long. I think that's what they should aim for, and they've got the potential this year to do it.
First season competing in the ACC for the Stanford Cardinal. Of course, Stanford and Cal, both here in the Bay Area, joining. Tabitha Yim, actually an alum from Stanford, one of the best to do it. She's in her 8th season leading this squad, coming back to her alma mater. And she's been an excellent, excellent influence on the entire team as well as the entire staff.
Oh, I mean, Tabitha is one of the most humble and grateful people I've ever met in my life. Every time we come out here, she makes sure to thank us, and I know she's thanking every single person in the arena. She's been here long enough now that this program is really a reflection of her, and it is a reflection that you want to be in. They are cool, calm, a little bit nerdy, not afraid to be weird. They've got definitely their own style that's very Stanford, but it works for them.
That's that Nerd Nation coming into effect with Stanford, number 15 in the rankings as a group. And then head coach Dana Durante in her 4th season with number 23, North Carolina. And she had back-to-back EAGL regular season championships before they actually came to the ACC last year.
And, you know, that 4-year mark is really when a coach gets to call the program their own. You come into something, you didn't recruit the athletes, no one's been coached for you. But once you hit that 4-year mark, it starts to gel. And she said that's exactly what it feels like this year. Everyone is on the same page. We have the same goals. We have the same work ethic. And that's what you want to see from a program. That's when you succeed, regardless of what your own personal team's vibe is or who is on it. If you're all going to the same direction, it's going to be great.
While this is the first time North Carolina has been out west here at Stanford in recent memory, not the first time for Dana Durante. She actually competed at Arizona State in college. Tabitha Yim, of course, Stanford, as mentioned. So she's made her way out here before. Oh,
yeah, and she also coached at Cal. So she is very familiar with the Bay Area, with our traffic. She did say, I said, you know, it's raining today. We'll see how many people we get out. But she's happy to be back here on the West Coast.
Here in Maples Pavilion, every home meet for Stanford this year in Maples. Occasionally, previously was in Burnham at times, which is not too far away, where men's volleyball is playing tonight actually for Stanford. But now every time we see them here in Maples, and we see that Cardinal floor that we'll get to a little bit later.
Love the floor. And it's just great to see the growth of not just this program, but women's gymnastics in general. You know, we went from Burnham, which was an electric arena to be in because it's small, so you feel everyone. You're maybe like looking and feeling the beam if you have the right seats. I know I would get chalk in my eyes back in the day, but having them grow into this large arena, having great fans come out, having the school support them, that's what we want to see from gymnastics and women's sports in general.
It's filled in pretty nicely here at Maples Pavilion. You can feel the energy from the crowd, and both teams also bringing that energy and leading things off. Nev King.
Nev leads them off with a Yurchenko full. Small pace back, you saw just the hips piked a little, and that's almost like guaranteed you're going to take a hop back when you pike those hips at the end. But for the majority of that vault, very clean. Just right there, little hop back, but they'll take it.
Hands in the air from Dana Durante. First one in the books on the vault for North Carolina, but AP over there, the senior on bars now for Stanford.
AP likes to live on the edge. She's got big tricks. See, she's got that fun makeup too. Good handstand there. And then in this very, very difficult dismount, double front, half turn, sticks the landing, completely stoic because she said, I knew this was going to happen. No problem for AP. Watch this dismount. It is one of the hardest dismounts you'll see in gymnastics. She does the half turn, and then she's going to go into that double front with a half twist. Most people can't get that half twist around, but not AP. Completely turned, solid.
She didn't just stick, she froze. Beautiful start on the bars for Stanford. And now it's Ellie King's turn, the other King twin on this North Carolina team over on vault.
I see another Yurchenko full. This time, hop in the other direction. So her chest was just down a little bit, took her forward. So if you combine both of the twins, one was a little under, one was a little over, they would perfectly stick it. See that little bit of pike, but she didn't have as much power, so it pulled her forward instead of over-rotating her onto her heels.
I think Ellie King likes things in pairs. She's a twin, of course, but she's double majoring in communication and psychology as well. 9.75 for Nev King in the leadoff, and now Kendra Chan, the sophomore, over on bars.
And Kendra's swapping in. Jamie Dugan has been in this spot for last few meets, but Kendra's been in the lineup. She's been exhibitioning. Really strong freshman. You can see she has kept those feet together. Through that Maloney impact, very good. Another nice handstand. Winding up the double layout. Had issues with this once before, but not today. Another stick.
And I said she was a sophomore because it's hard to believe that she's a freshman, right? The poise that she shows and that landing.
Oh yeah, she comes from a great club gym here in the Bay Area, Airborne. They have so many athletes. They're used to this team atmosphere, which not everyone gets that because they don't have as many people in their gym training with them, but she's a rock star.
It's a freshman class ranked 7th in the country by College Gym News for the Stanford Cardinal. Isabel Schaefer now.
This is a vault that Isabella has learned in the past year. It's a Yurchenko full. She used to do this vault tucked, but in the offseason, she was committed to come back her senior year. You know, you do not see a lot of athletes in their senior year trying something new. They're often trying to hold on for that last year, save their bodies, but she's done a really good job to get that layout because it is so different from the tuck position to the layout. Very different vault, but she has really done a good job to step up for her team. She was maybe gonna exhibition, but with Lolly out, she's the one who got the call to come in and show off what she's got.
A theme for this Carolina gym team that Coach Durante told us about too is they came back, they worked so hard, they came back with new stuff as a group. They really wanted to get better this season. A 9.875 for Kendra Chang on the bars, and now it's Brennan Old's turn.
You know, that's where you start to see things start to roll together. When you get those stuck landings, it's an extra 10th on every routine. That's 5 tenths at the end of a rotation if everyone sticks. The landings matter. we'll watch Brenna here. The experienced senior. She's been, like I said, in the all-around almost every meet of her entire career here at Stanford. So much experience. Beautiful line. She's been hitting those handstands really nicely. Watch here. She missed her feet on that. She does a toe on to her full pirouette before she does her double tuck. But like I said, she is experienced. She didn't let it rattle her. She came back, did it again. The judges want to watch. She's supposed to go up to handstand. Oh, she does it here. So that was the redo afterwards. She does that double back afterwards, hits it. Missed that first one. It can really rattle someone, but not Brenna. She knows what she's doing.
Seasoned veteran, one of 3 Stanford gymnasts on the leadership council for the team this year. Now Julia Noer over on vault after a 9.8 from Isabel Schaefer.
Another Yurchenko full. This one had, I think, the most height that I've seen so far in this lineup. Still that, like we saw before, step forward because the chest was just a little too far in front of the toes. Bigger height, not as much back, but just needs to get that chest up at the end to really dial in that landing.
The 9.75 to the 9.65 for the King twins. The 9.8 for Schaefer. The vault in the bag now for Julia Noer. We'll head back over to the bars for junior Ava Sorrento. Season high 9.85 so far this year. It's a 9.775 for Brenna Nolt also now.
Ava's a great gymnast. I talk about it all the time. She switched from street body cast last season, mid-season, to this straddle cast. They got some feedback from the judges, but the straddle is looking really good because she had hit that handstand so nicely. I think everyone in the Stanford bars lineup can go 9.9 plus when they hit, and she's no exception. Really great extended double layout. Just slightly under-rotated, but she fought for that landing. That was really important to bring them back, not because Brenna's mistake counted as a fall, but just to get everyone feeling good again. Extended double layout, slightly forward on her toes.
Her season high at 9.85, career high at 9.9 that she got in regionals last year. Over on vault, it's JoJo Valahovic's turn.
Before this, I was chatting with Coach Dana Durante, and she said when JoJo can spot the floor before that last half twist, she sticks it. Watch her spot that. Just a little too much energy, but that's the type of mistake you want to see in the air. Beautiful. I think that in the air was actually even cleaner than her stick last week, but she had a little too much oomph. Beautiful vault.
A lot of fun facts about this North Carolina team, and for JoJo, she eats a steak the night before every single meet. So we got to ask her later, where did she get that steak last night? We'll find out.
Maybe House of Prime Rib in the city. That's where I'd go.
Oh, that's a good one. There's Sundance Steakhouse down the road as well. But Anna Roberts now following Ava Sorrento's 9.875 performance.
Very clean routine from Anna. She does this Van Leeuwen here. You could see just a small flicker of the feet, but it's a question of whether the judges see that from their angle. Really powerful double layout and a stick. That's the Anna Roberts you can know and count on to always deliver. You know, that Van Leeuwen looked a little cleaner from that angle. I don't know if I would take there. Strong double layout. And again, the perfect landing position with the chest up, knees over toes. That's what you want to see.
On the ACC preseason watch list for a reason. And the anchor over on vault, Kaya Forbes.
Huge Yurchenko layout. The thing that I love about Kaya's Yurchenko full is that she has so much time after the twist to spot the landing. So watch her. She is a very fast twitch athlete. So much time to spot the landing. She has a 1.5 in her back pocket. They've been opting this year to go for the full, really focus in on the landings, and we've seen that across the nation. Some of those Yurchenko fulls are scoring better than the 1.5s in a way that we didn't quite see last year.
ACC newcomer list honoree Uisoma over on bars as the anchor for Stanford after a 9.95 from Anna Roberts.
Ui is so good on this event. Okay, that might have been the longest handstand I've ever seen held on top of the bar. And she does it every time I see her in warm-up. She just knows how to hit the handstands. It can be a little dangerous when you're playing it that close to vertical to go over. And sometimes if it feels like it's out of rhythm, the judges can take a deduction, but I would say those just looked excellent to me. And a stuck landing, that's the Uisoma we've been wanting to see. Now watch this handstand. She is directly on top of the bar. 1,000, 2,000. That is something you don't see. And then she finishes off with a great double layout, stuck landing. Brings those arms up to keep her chest up. Not even a shuffle.
We'll see an exhibition on bars, but a great performance there by Uisoma. We're seeing that stick getting passed around quite a bit for the Stanford team already.
And that's what we saw the last time they were here in Maples, is it was stick after stick. And that is what propelled them to that 197 mark, which is going to be huge for them. And they're looking so far on pace or even above pace today. Like I said at the beginning, 197, they're looking for 49.25 on every event. They hit that on vault. They're already over that without Ui's score. That's what they need to do.
Of course, the last time they had a home meet here in Maples, they went up against UNC's arch rivals, North Carolina State. Ended up getting the win, you said, at 197 plus. The first time they'd done that in January since 2015. 10 years it had been since they'd done that this early on in the season. So the exhibition now from Jamie Dugan.
Another strong freshman, Jamie here. Great gymnastics. But this bars lineup is just so difficult to break into. Like I said, every athlete in there can go 9.9 plus. And she's no exception. She's looking really good. Love the tap into that double layout and another stick. Even the exhibition stick in today. That's what they, oh, she's hitting the gritty.
Well, and it is gritty and glam night tonight. Actually, that is the theme here in Maples Pavilion, so very on brand. A 9.925 for Uisoma to wrap it up on bars. 49.5 for Stanford, just under 49 at 48.875 for North Carolina. Cardinal in the lead after two. This year is conference realignment. And for women's gymnastics in the ACC, last year, 4 teams, Clemson, North Carolina State, and Pittsburgh. Then coming into 2025, Stanford and Cal joined the party. And from all the coaches we've talked to, Casey, so far this season, they're pretty excited about these additions and the rise of the ACC.
Oh, of course, they are excited to have these West Coast teams come out and raise the level of play. To have the number 2 team from last year, number 5, come into your conference, that makes everyone up their game, and that's what they want. It's going to inspire everyone around you to be greater.
And the coaches took that into consideration in the preseason coaches poll for the ACC. Cal picked to win it, Stanford right there at number 2, and then the reigning champions in that ACC, North Carolina State, but they're right there at the top.
And if you look at the rankings nationally right now, NC State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Pitt, they are all bottlenecked together. So it is really close. This is a very competitive conference. And going into the postseason, I am really excited to see those conference championships, to see how things shake out.
North Carolina picked to finish 5th out of 6 in the ACC, but let's not forget they're ranked 23 right now in the country. Getting ready here for the third rotation, but after the first 2, 98.75 for Stanford and 97.7 thus far for North Carolina. And Dana Durante talked to us a lot about the ACC and how excited that they are just for the competition level, but also just how excited they are for the exposure for North Carolina and this gymnastics squad.
Yeah, this program has been growing. They want people to see their gymnasts for what they can do, not necessarily, you know, what people expect of them. They have so many gems on this team of excellent gymnastics, and once people start to see it, you're going to be a UNC fan.
And a lot of credit she gave to her entire staff, Marie Denick, who actually predates her at North Carolina, as well as Matt de Grand Prix, and of course her daughter, Sammy Durante Money. Of course, they call each other Dana and Sammy when they're at work.
Yeah, when you're at work, first name basis.
But on the other side, for Tabitha Yim, again, her 8th season at Stanford, and a couple of seasons she was the head coach at Arizona as well, so really familiar with gymnastics on this side of the country as a coach as well as a gymnast. She was in the Stanford Hall of Fame back in 2019, and this program has really just been on the rise under her since she came back.
Oh, and, you know, she also said she was excited for this conference. She noted that this conference, all the head coaches are women, and that is an amazing thing to see in this sport, in sports in general. Again, I said, Tabitha, she's just one of the most, like, humble people I've ever met in my life, but she is a competitive person. You see it underneath her when she was an athlete, and her team is just like that. They are cool, calm, and collected, but underneath the surface, they want to win.
And she gives credit to her staff as well. Vince Murrow, Hallie Mozette, both promoted in the off-season. Hallie Mozette also specifically, she said, helping them get a little swaggier, as Claire Dean will start on the beam for Stanford as we enter the 3rd rotation.
Claire is the leadoff queen for Stanford. She, you know, came in her freshman year. She does all 4 events. She is someone who they could rely on everywhere. This year, she's still kept that leadoff position on beam. Because she can work through little issues like that, she does a very difficult side aerial into a layout step out. She was slightly under-rotated, but was calm and finessed it, made it work. And that's what you need on beam, because it's been said a million times, but the leadoff sets the tone, and beam is the one place where the tone matters so much more than you would think. It's not just what you do, but how you do it. And Claire does it effortlessly into a stick to continue that stick momentum from bars.
A sticky situation for Stanford so far tonight. Claire Dean with a great start for the Stanford squad. She's got the stick right there. We'll head over to the floor as Jessica Naranjo will start things off for North Carolina, the sophomore.
You know, on paper, floor isn't UNC's best event, but they have really great difficulty, and they are able to really deliver some fun, exciting gymnastics.
So they're having a slight technical difficulty with the music here.
This is not her music, the sound of a buzzer.
Yeah,
Not
just
that
to be
I'm aware
clear.
of. It would make for an interesting interpretive routine.
We'll drop a beat here in a second, but that wasn't it.
So while we wait for them to figure out this, I'm going to get on my soapbox about the judging.
Let's do it.
I've been waiting all night. So like I said, UNC, they have great gymnastics, but they don't always get the scores that, you know, I think they could, because judging isn't always consistent across the board. It's been something that people always are talking about. Even this week, we saw a tweet from Livy Dunn about the judging. But what every coach said is, we can't focus on that. We've just got to perform our skills and do the best we can. So what we're looking for here from Jessica is to see those big gymnastic skills. She opens with a double pike. It is beautiful. Great control there from her. Combination pass there, well controlled. Hits the 180 on that leap combination there. That's super important. She bounced back well from that interesting start.
There's so much mental strength you have to have in addition to just the physical ability, and she did demonstrate that going into this routine.
You got to focus on what you can control, and what you can control is yourself and your team.
Tone is set for North Carolina on floor. Over on the beam, Temple Landry, the sophomore, to start after Claire Dean's 9.85 leading off.
Temple has beautiful gymnastics. You know, she came in with a few injuries. They decided they should really focus on the events where they thought she could make an impact. And she has really made an impact on this beam lineup. She got a 9.9 this season, which is huge. And it's because she does nice, easy, floaty gymnastics like that. Great split position and the ring position. Whenever you release that head, it makes it so much more difficult to land with stability. And she's got these qualities that you want from a gymnast, like this flexibility, beautiful scale. On the men's side, they actually brought back scales on floor as a requirement. I love to see that artistry. A little deep on the knee bend to get that landing, but she got the stick.
She gets it done in the end. Wow.
You can see the close-up of her wolf turn there. She wears that little sock to help her get a little less friction, spin faster. Gainer pike, absorbs through, sells it well.
Really a floor specialist last year. It's been great to see her in other events so far this year. And back on the floor after Naranjo's 9.825, Jojo Valahovic, ACC newcomer watch list as well.
And we saw that super difficult vault from her. She also opens with a difficult first pass. Takes it up full twisting, double back, controls it really nicely today. You know, that's the type of skill you would see good teams bringing maybe in their last one or two, but UNC has 3 of them in their pockets. They are not afraid of the difficulty. That's what they're trying to push to break into that postseason this year. Double back, chest up, nicely controlled. Great difficult routine there from Jojo Valahovic.
The gym heels were fired up throughout that entire exercise. And you could see why after what she delivered.
Got front through to that double back. Finishes strong. And she's getting more and more confident. You know, when those freshmen come in, it's a different world when you've got a bunch of fans watching you. It's not like in club. It's like your parents, your teammates' parents, maybe.
Some fans showing up for North Carolina, as now it's Anna Roberts' turn after a 9.85 back-to-back now with Temple Landry.
Very controlled on that wolf turn. You know, sometimes you can see athletes' arms wavering a little bit on those wolf turns. She made that connection very well. You could see after the first leap, she was a little off. Her shoulder dipped down, but she brought it right back up. That's the type of correction you need to see. Another save there on the layout step out. You know, with beam, it's never going to be perfect from top to bottom. The best beamers are the ones who can cover up any imperfection, who can adjust on the fly. Gearing up here for her dismount. Gainer full off the side, great amplitude, and that helps her get another stick for the Stanford Cardinal.
We're starting to sound like broken records over here with all of these sticks.
I'm having deja vu from the last time they were here, but that's what we want to see, especially this early in the season. To have the lineup hitting those sticks consistently is a really good sign.
No doubt a positive conversation there between Tabitha Yim and Anna Roberts. Jojo Valahovic with a 9.875 to set things up for Gwen Fink on floor.
Double pike to open for Gwen. We're going to see 3 passes from her. And this second one is super difficult. Back 2.5. Loses the legs a little bit on the end. That's why we don't see those 2.5 or triple fulls very often. It's very, very difficult to keep them clean when you're doing that many twists. But I love the difficulty.
3 passes, not as common now as it used to be.
No, everyone's caught on that you can get away with 2. But what you do see is, to make up for that lack of a third pass, athletes have to do more difficult leaps. And those leaps are getting evaluated just as harshly as the landings on the tumbling. Good routine there from Gwen Fink. So you can see here on this 2.5, love the difficulty. You can see just didn't have enough time to really stop the rotation and spot that landing. It is a blind landing, so sometimes it'll catch you by surprise when you're landing forward.
Now Brenna Nolt's turn on the beam, leading the ACC coming into tonight's competition in this event. A 9.75 from Roberts before this.
You know, we saw in that pre-meet footage, Brenna really just enjoying everything, even the warm-ups before the meet. You know, what everyone always says about Brenna is no one loves gymnastics more than Brenna Nolt. Oh. You know, she knew she was off there. She usually does 2 back handsprings into a layout step out. She did the third one as another back handspring, trying to save it and keep it on, but just off. Beat jump into her ring. You know, she's come back strong after that. You know, the ring is a place where you'd see those bobbles if she was holding on to anything. But like I said, she is... she's improvising a lot on this one. Front aerial into a front walkover. for her dismount here. 1.5. Gets the stick. Again, she's trained so much. She knows how to hit that landing every time. Okay, so watch this here. She does 1 back handspring, 2 back handspring. Usually does a layout. Tell she was off, but couldn't save it. It was some quick thinking, but sometimes you can't come back, but she can come back and hit the landing.
Veteran mentality there to finish it off. And now Kaya Forbes over on floor, junior.
Again, Kaya is deceptively powerful. She has another difficult full in. Huge. Very, very nicely controlled there. You could see just maybe a little bit of the ankles not staying together, but she keeps the knees together. Super difficult pass. Follows it up here with a front lay, front full. Again, controlled nicely. She's got the skills. This year she's really been focusing on her performance quality and her confidence. Double back, oh, just under rotated there. But you can see that work has paid off. She's getting the team into it.
Nice performance from Kaya Forbes. She eats 3 birthday cake Hershey's before competition every time, and I think it paid off here.
Yeah.
Very specific too, the birthday cake flavor.
Yeah. Every day is your birthday.
Next up on beam for Stanford, Soma.
So a 9.25 comes in for Brenna Nolt, factoring in the fall. And now it's Ui Soma's turn, the freshman, over on beam.
And this is going to be a big routine for Ui. She is a freshman. They have not had to deal with, you know, this beam situation before. She hasn't. Coming after a fall. She has a ton of elite experience. You know, she was training with the Japanese national team, trying to make that Olympic squad. Very, very close in the mix, in the conversation. Originally from the Bay Area, but moved out to Texas to train at Woga as well.
One of 3 5-star recruits in this freshman class.
Her flight stays here, back handspring layout, step out. Almost a little under, but that was well corrected. That's the one skill that I see Ui compete that doesn't always look its best, that switch half. She is so great in everything she does, and I saw her doing that on the floor before, and it was perfect. So I think it's just getting more confident up there, so she's able to go for the full 180. I think, you know, coming off of that fall from Brenna, she was a little hesitant, and that's the one place I saw it. But other than that, I was very impressed with how strong she came through this beam routine for the Stanford Cardinal to keep them on track.
Poise from the freshman Ui Soma. Now Julia Noer over on the floor after Kaya Forbes 9.7.
Julia's another senior who took the initiative. She has brought back her full in, which she trained in club. Adding to that difficulty in this lineup. So watch for that first pass here. ramping up full in. This one is very clean. I love the way she keeps the feet together in the twist. And then she does a difficult leap here. It's a split 1.5 or a gojin. You know, in elite, that skill is very popular, but often devalued from the judges. In NCAA, they're a little more lenient on crediting those skills. Nice twisting form on her front fall, front leg. Another leap pass here again. When you've got those only 2 passes, you've got to pack in the difficulty in your leaps as well. She likes it.
Julia, to know her is to love her. ACC championship team on floor last year. Good performance here in Stanford, California.
For Stanford, Sienna Robinson.
See here, those leaps, just a little shy of 180, and those are the things that will keep this UNC floor team from hitting the 9.9s. It's those little details, because the tumbling difficulty is there.
Soma with the 9.8. Now the anchor, Sienna Robinson. Says a lot, Tabitha Yim said, that she is in the anchor position. 14 different athletes were working out on the beam, and she's now in this position.
A wealth of riches, but, you know, Sienna came in hungry to be in those lineups. You know, she was in the beam lineup last year, most of the year, not always, but most of the time. But to go from that to being the anchor, that is a huge progression for an athlete. You can see why with that beautiful back handspring layout step out. Great extension in her leaps there, hitting that 180 without question. You know, to really sell it to the judges, you gotta go almost above 180 so that in real time it looks like it was at that horizontal. Solid through that combination as well. Hits the full turn. This is a big routine for them. They really need her to finish off strong. She's made it through, just the dismount left. Let's see what she does. Round off, 1.5, and a stick. That is the anchor that has earned her spot and proven it week after week. Sienna Robinson, beautiful on the beam. You can see that layout step out. She was not hesitant. That's the worst thing you can do as a beam competitor, is to be hesitant. You have to go exactly normal, not above, not below, and hit the stick.
As smooth as that moonwalk, Sienna Robinson brings it home for the Cardinal. Bella Miller looking to do the same on floor for the Tar Heels.
Front tuck through to the double back there. You could see her chest was just a little down. But I love watching Bella on floor. She is a show to behold. Even when we were watching her on the side and her teammates out routine, she was dancing just as hard as all of them. Not saving her energy for her routine. She was having a party.
She's got enough in the tank for herself and her teammates.
Gearing up for this final pass here. Double pike. She was really stretching into that set. The set position is when they leave the floor after the round off or the back handspring before they do the flip. Great finish there for Bella. Entertaining routine. Like I said, this floor lineup for UNC, they have great skills in there, especially the tumbling skills, but it's just those little details. The landings weren't quite what they wanted it to be. Some of the leaps didn't have the extension, and that's the difference between a rotation that's going to go 49.2 and a 49, or just at 49.
Put that crown on, Queen. Bella Miller, the anchor. We are going to have an exhibition on both events. It's Portia Trinidad for Stanford and Stan Robinson with that 995 as the anchor on beam.
Incredible. Portia here, another beautiful athlete on beam. We haven't seen her yet this season, but Tabitha has beam routines galore. Portia, career high at 9925. Just off there, though. She was going for a difficult combination. She was going to do a front aerial connected directly into that back handspring layout step out. That is above and beyond what you need to do for the minimum. Love that virtuosity. It's not always rewarded in college gymnastics. That's why we see a lot of these cookie cutter routines. You can see she's just a little stiff there. You have to be able to absorb each leap. The beam is hard. It is stiff, it hurts when you fall on it, and it's not forgiving. So you have to use your knees to bend into each skill. But she did a good job of continuing through. First time she's been out here this season. We'll take that experience and bring it on to the next one.
The exhibition in the books for Portia Trinidad as a squad finishing 49.2 is Stanford on the beam, and the exhibition now from Ellie King on floor.
Ellie King starting off with a front tuck through to double back. She holds onto it. You know, that double back afterwards, it was a little long. You want to make these skills, especially on floor, go straight up to get as much height as possible, but she got enough rotation. It is difficult when you add those combinations, that those front tuck step outs, you lose so much momentum from it unless you do it perfectly. If the timing's even a little bit off, you're basically starting from no momentum. Double pike, she pulls it around. Like I said, you know, those knees, they can absorb things for you. They can almost save a skill that could have been a fall. She did a good job to absorb there. Makes it through. Exhibition from Ellie King.
Ellie King, also a queen on the floor. And wrapping up on the floor for North Carolina, Julia Noah with a 9.85, Bella Miller 9.625. So the Cardinal still leading 147.95 to 146.675. The last rotation remains. The Cardinal on floor, the Tar Heels on the beam. In the books here as number 23 North Carolina visiting number 15 Stanford. The Cardinal able to surpass that 49 mark as a group on every single event. Not yet for the Tar Heels. However, they got the closest that they've been so far with the 48.975 on floor.
Yeah, so they are right on the edge of what they're looking for. They're on pace for another solid score in their bank. They're still going to be happy with this, but they need to really dial it in, both teams, on this final rotation to hit those numbers that I set for them at the beginning.
Head coach Tabitha Yim, as well as head coach Dana Durante. We talked about their experience as gymnasts in the Pac-12, as well as coaches. Their alma maters have gone to a couple different places. Stanford, obviously, in the ACC, as mentioned, and then Arizona State, Durante's alma mater, now in the Big 12, spread out across the country.
You know, these are big changes, and it's long travel meets tonight. Think about UNC at home. Right now, it's 11 p.m., so this is something everyone's getting used to. We talked to Coach Vince Smurrow before this week's meet. We asked him, how was Pitt for you? And he said, honestly, not that bad. For the West Coast teams, I think going east, they don't really have to adjust their schedules as much. They can stay on West Coast time and still, you know, just treat it like a normal day. The flights aren't as long as you think about it, but it's just something everyone's got to adjust to, and whoever adjusts best is going to really thrive.
He said the flight wasn't as long as I thought it would be to Pitt either, which helped a little bit. And I know that Coach Durante told us they weren't going to totally get on West Coast time, weren't going to totally abandon their East Coast body clocks, but get a little bit closer at least, maybe Central Time, Mountain Time, to get a little bit more aligned with when they're competing, because most of the time we see earlier meet times than we have today, but just part of the new era of collegiate athletics.
Exactly, and that's not the only thing that's changed. They introduced a new scoreboard this season, which is confusing. It's not where you look at the scores. It is a group of people that are evaluating the judges to see how they are performing. Now, we saw, you know, some scores at the beginning of this year were a little bit lower than last year. Last year, things, I would say, really got very generous at times, but this scoreboard is the first step in the direction to getting consistency across the nation. It is a very difficult thing to do. It's not going to be solved overnight, but it's the right step to make things more equivalent and more neutral.
How about that performance on the beam? A new season high from Santa Robinson, by the way, with a 9.95.
You know, it's just so impressive. Like, that Stanford beam lineup, they needed to pick it up. You know, we saw Anna Roberts had a few little errors. It was so important that she actually fought through those and stayed on the beam, because that was the difference between them breaking 49 and having a disaster that was going to make this meet overall unusable.
And on the other side, the freshman Jojo Valahovic leading the way on floor with a 9.875. We're switching things around now. The Cardinal going to get to end on floor as the home team, which, by the way, they've been consistently in the top 10 nationally on this event as a group.
And what sets them apart on floor is the choreography. I talk about it every time. Choreography is not just getting you from skill to skill. It is a performance. And when you see the teams where their choreography is thought through, it's connected, it is detailed, that's when they really shine. And it's all of those details, not just the choreography, the pointed toes, the sticks. When you have a team that can focus on that, it takes them from, you know, an average team to someone who's going to be a threat in the postseason.
Of course, given a lot of credit is Tabitha Yim to Hallie Mosette, the Fontaine-Langenfeld women's gymnastics first assistant coach, and leading the way floor routines, choreography, a UCLA alum now in her third season here on the farm. Leading off for North Carolina on beam is Jessica Naranjo. By the way, fluent in Spanish. And I was wondering if we were going to hear some Spanish music mixed in with her floor routine or what we were going to see, but excited to see her beam routine here.
Absolutely. You know, she was an all-ACC championship team on beam in 2024 as a freshman. Starting off with that full turn, something that's so easy to lose your focus on. Front aerial connected to a standing layout step out. You know, it's difficult to get the power for that layout step out, especially when you're connecting it to that front skill. Good wolf jump there. see she's really using her breath through this routine. You know, different athletes have different things that help them stay on track and calm down. She looks like she's taking breaths at specific times. And it's set her up for a great dismount. The stick is sticky even for UNC.
It's coming together, and Jessica Naranjo, of course, that 9.825 after some trouble with them starting her music on the floor, and then she comes back, ends it very strongly on the beam for North Carolina. And Claire Dean, the leadoff we know and love for the Stanford Cardinal.
And then watch Claire's entry into this first skill. She does, you know, it's a front handspring, but she does it a little differently. Her hands are uneven. I call it something more like a tensica versus the normal front handspring. It looks almost like she was going to do a round-off and ends up as a front handspring. Could have seen maybe a little more extension on that leap there. We'll be back here with a 1.5 front full. Difficult to connect those two twisting skills back to back. Good extension there on the straddle, well over 180. Still has enough time to perform. Great leadoff, as always, from Claire Dean.
Solid start for Stanford with the leadoff, Claire Dean. The floor was all Cardinal as the crowd's starting to get fired up here in Maples, which just so happens to be the motto this year for this North Carolina team. It's fired up. And a career high from Jessica Naranjo with 9.925. Part of what getting them going here in Maples. And now JoJo Valahovic will take her shot.
That's a strong leadoff for them. They're going to take that any day of the week. But now the question is, can they capitalize on that momentum? Backhand spring really floaty through that layout step out. I love the way she performs that skill. You know, we call it a layout step out, but sometimes it almost looks more like a whip back. You know, it's not really a true like acrobatic layout skill, but she does get so much height on it. I loved the way she did it. Interesting hurdle into that round up 1.5. She has a little triple jump kind of looking action there, a hop step into the round off. But she gets good height on the dismount. Watch, sets up, spots the landing. You know, you see those arms flare out. That helps you stop the twist, stop the rotation. Almost gets the stick there.
On the floor for Stanford is Brenna Nolt after a 9.85 leadoff from Claire Dean.
Senior here. She is a dancer. She was on her high school dance team. If there's a place you want to go after a fall, it's for where you can just shake it off. Beautiful double pike to open. Difficult leaps there, and she hits the 180 every time. Great flexibility. big Rudy. And of course, putting on the show the entire time. You know, they chant before this last one here, "We love Brenna." It's true, she's been such a consistent leader for this team her entire 4 years. I say if she could have 8 years of eligibility, she'd probably keep going for 8 years. Strong comeback here from Brenna Nault. She's soaking in every moment of that.
Did we doubt that Brenna would make a comeback after being Nault for a second? Take a look at this.
Solid on that double pike and that Rudy as well. But where she really shines for me is in the choreography. All those moments in between.
Another solid performance. JoJo's score came in at 9.825, and now Taylor Scholes.
Taylor setting up right into that back handspring layout step out. You know, on beam, there's rhythm and flow to your routine, and it's not just something that's nice to watch, it's something the judges are looking for. If you're taking too much time to set up for your skills, it can be a deduction. So when an athlete just sets and goes, chef's kiss for me. Side aerial there. Ooh. Holds onto it again. Fighting for that skill to stay on the beam could be the difference between a routine you're going to bank for the postseason and a routine and a score that you're going to have to drop at the end of the year. Gainer full. Gets the stick. That was a gritty performance. That was really good for her to come back from that side aerial. You can see, just let that shoulder, the one right shoulder rose a little too high. The shoulder's kind of like the steering wheel. If one goes up or down, it's going to take you in that direction. So you got to keep them square the entire time.
Transfer from Brown, now a senior, Taylor Scholes in the books. But now it's the underclassman, Sienna Robinson.
Again, we called this routine last week swaggy, and it definitely is that. She's got 3 passes, starts off with this double tuck, nice and high, well controlled. But what I want you to watch for is she does a really difficult turn here. It's called a memel. She has the leg up at vertical, 2 turns around. So difficult. It might not look it to the eye, but that is one of the most difficult skills you'll see on this floor. You have to have flexibility and strength and consistency. You know, dancers typically are turning on like a hard floor, like on the basketball court we have here, and that gives them a really good platform to spin on. But when you're on the carpet, it really slows you down. So to get those 2 turns around is so difficult. I can't say enough how much I love that memel turn. But I also love that double pike. Great routine there from Sienna Robinson. Always putting on a show for us here at Maples.
Last time on the floor here at Maples, she was the co-floor champion, a career high 9.925, her first ever career event title. Keeping it going with the bang here. And we will head back over to the beam where the 9.575 came in for Taylor Scholes. And now it's Gwen Fink's turn.
You know, I'm watching this Carolina team in front of me, they are all holding each other shoulder to shoulder, watching this beam routine, definitely supporting each other from the sides. This is another big one. Again, this whole back half of this lineup has to stay aggressive. When you start to hesitate or doubt, that's when those errors continue to snowball. Now, I talked earlier, Jessica was using breaths. You can see here Gwen is talking to herself. Athletes like to have sometimes keywords, positive things to think of, reminders. That was a really difficult flight series there. Talking herself through every skill. Big gainer full and sticks it. That's the type of amplitude it takes to really lock in on the landing. Love that dismount there. You can see really gets the height, which allows her to spot the landing. Fights through the heels so she doesn't over-rotate it. Getting them right back on track. That's what you want to see from your beam team.
Good response from Gwen Fink, and coming in for Sienna Robinson, a 9.9 after Brenna Nolds' 9.825. Now they'll hand it off to the freshman, Alana Walker.
Ginormous double pike. So much power there. That was to the ceiling. Just had a little too much oomph, too much juice. You can see there, even right out of those leaps, she doesn't stop and pause. She's right into the dancing. That's what I love about this choreography. Front 10 through the double back. Pulls it out well. Watch this first pass here. So much height. Steps back, but got the power. And this double tuck, I was a little worried. Her back handspring didn't look the strongest, but she was able to make it through fine.
Walker's performance in the books. Gwen Finks came in over on beam at 9.85. A nice response for the Tar Heels. And now Julia Noer.
So solid on that flight series. That's what I'm talking about, the aggression. You have to go at your normal 100%. Leap combination there. I'd like to see a little more split on that second one, that difficult split half. Front toss right into the beat. You can see she used her arms there to get her back on center. That beat jump was a little off center, but when you're aggressive with those shoulders and arms, it can bring your whole body back in line. Gearing up for the landing. Holds on to it. Just let that chest drop. But she didn't let the feet move. That was another good, normal routine. Exactly what you want to see in the lineup after a near fall. So now that's really done a great job to set them up for this routine 6. There's not as much pressure. You know, they want to drop that 9.575, but they don't have to.
Julia Noer, the only all-around competitor for North Carolina. Another one here on floor for Stanford with Anna Roberts after Walker's 9.85.
Punch front, through to double back. Oh, that landing was so nice. You know, athletes are allowed that lunge back, but by definition, it needs to be a controlled lunge. And that was, to me, what a controlled lunge needs to look like every time. I love that part of her routine. She fakes this out, looks like she's going to do the wolf turn, and stands up, does a nice little pirouette for us instead. Coming through here, front layout, huge Rudy. Her chest was down a little bit on that. She had so much height, but not quite enough rotation. But she has enough power. It's Anna Roberts that she was still able to get it around. And what I've noticed from Anna this year is she's really using her knees to absorb the landing. So she's able to make a good stick happen even when it's not perfect. You can see she bends into that landing even though her chest is down, so she didn't have to step forward. If you're a little stiff, that's going to instantly pop you onto your toes, but she absorbed it, finessed it, and made it work.
Anna Roberts completes her last event of the evening. Julia Noer with a 9.775 in her last event. Now it's Reagan McBride, the anchor on beam for Carolina.
So right now, North Carolina's at a 195.625. Reagan is perfect, they would be right on the edge of a 196. But we saw a little bobble there. But any tenths she can get above that 9.575 is going to be a great addition for them. Good aggression on that switch side there. Front toss. Well, you could see her feet, her toes were kind of moving around and gripping, but if you looked at just her upper body, solid as a rock. Side aerial into 1.5, very difficult combination. Little step forward, but that should score higher than Scholl's, and they're going to take it. You can see her toes gripping there. Front toss, that bottom right foot, little bobble, but her upper body, no movement. Good fight there from Reagan McBride, especially for a freshman to be anchoring that beam lineup.
She's another one who has a food routine before each meet. She eats Panera and Sour Patch watermelon. Might have helped her hold on there, as we now have Ashley Carter, the anchor, on floor for Stanford.
Ashley starts up with a Rudy into that straddle jump. Lots of power out of that Rudy. This is another fun routine. You know, we've seen Ashley exhibition, but we haven't seen her in the scoring lineup that I know of. So this is exciting for her. These juniors and sophomores have been working hard in the offseason to get into these lineups, and not just the exhibition spots. 1.5 front leg. You saw her feet come a little apart on the front layout. You know, sometimes if your timing is not off, you gotta arch it around, but she pulled it through very nicely. Ashley's from the same club gym as head coach Tabitha Yin, Charter Oak Gliders. You can watch here that front layout. See, the feet come apart. She had to do that to kind of get it around. It was a little under-rotated, but she had just enough so that she didn't have that step backward. Dances out of it quickly. Don't give the judges too much time to think about it. Nice to see her in the lineup.
We are going to have exhibitions here for both events. Reagan McBride ended things with a 9.725 on the beam for North Carolina. They'll break that 49 at 49.1 in the event. And now it's another King twin.
We've got Nev King here. Setting up for this back handspring layout step out. Controls it well at the end. You know, I talked about those rhythms, those pauses. That was maybe a second too long for my liking, but once she got into it, very fast, very powerful connection. Split 3/4 there. That's a place where the judges are looking. Doesn't matter how difficult it is, they need to see that 180 every time. Dismount, 1.5. Oh, and dials in the stick. A really great finish to their day.
Strong ending for the gym heels, thanks to the exhibition by Nev King.
You know, I think that routine was like a good summary of their entire day. It was very clean, very solid from front to end, but just a few little details. And that's the difference between, you know, them breaking 49 and being just under it on most of those rotations. They've got it in their pockets. They know how to do it. It's just making sure they can deliver from the day. But to be this close to 196 without Lolly Dekanoitza, that's going to be very confidence boosting for them going into next week.
They saved the best for last with the 49.1 on beam, and now the exhibition on floor from Terrelyn Wind as we await Ashley Carter's final score.
Another one that's, you know, working hard to get into these lineups. Terrelyn, we've seen her on vault, seen her on beam this year, haven't seen her yet on floor, though last year she was consistently in that lineup. Huge double layout, so difficult, and that was well controlled. Great routine so far. This is one they're going to want in the lineups if they can, because that double layout really leaves a positive impression on the judges, seeing that difficulty. Went through the double tuck. Great exhibition there from Terrelyn Wind.
A strong note to end on for the Cardinal as well. Ashley Carter's score comes in at 9.875. The Cardinal have broken 49 again, 49.3 in their floor score to put them above that 197 that you talked about, Casey, 197.250 to North Carolina's 195.775.
You know, I set those benchmarks for them. They didn't tell it to me, but they were both right in line with that. Again, just the difference was who could hit those landings, really. What happened on the event was what it was. There's, those built-in deductions, but Stanford hit more landings than North Carolina today, and that's how they got above that 197 benchmark, and that's why UNC was just a little bit shy of that number.
The Cardinal improved to 6-0 on the season, 3-0 in ACC competition. North Carolina now 1-3 on the season, 0-2 in ACC competition. The two nationally ranked squads here in a conference that is on the rise.
Yeah, it was this whole conference, like we said, they're elevating it between each other, and seeing all of those teams really bunched up in the rankings. I think, you don't want to say you're thinking about anyone else in your conference, but at the end of the day, it's really motivating when you see your closest competition one ranking spot below you. That makes each meet super important, because, that's the difference between them raising up 2 or 3 spots or dropping down 2 or 3, is having that 195 you have to count. Those types of routines, in the moment it might not seem like a lot, but that could be the one that really takes you down the rankings, especially this early in the season. There's only a few meets under everyone's belt, so each meet you do really can influence where you are in the standings. Having to count one fall could be the difference between being in the top 20 and being in the 50s almost.
Every moment matters, as Stanford will get the victory again, 197.25 to 195.775 over North Carolina in ACC competition. By the way, the Cardinal sweeping the titles across this competition as well, and it really comes down to 2 gymnasts. Anna Roberts getting the vault title, the bars title, and the all-around title. But then how about Sienna Robinson with beam and floor in her back pocket?
Incredible. And the best thing is Stanford's got more up their sleeve. When I was watching before the meet, I saw Uisoma warming up on floor, and that's a routine they're going to want to put in. It was beautiful. I'm not going to spoil the music for anyone, but keep your eyes peeled for that routine. I know when we talked to Coach Tabitha Yem, she said she was a little slower coming back on the leg events, but if we can get Uisoma in the all-around, that's going to make me a very happy gymnastics fan.
All ACC newcomer watch list for a reason. And a really exciting part of this Stanford team is that freshman class, of course, but such a mix on both of these squads of that upperclassmen and underclassmen leadership. Both coaches made a point to tell us that.
Yep, very strong top to bottom. You see a lot of underclassmen in those anchor and leadoff positions, which is very impressive and honestly a good sign for these programs. It means they've got a lot of time in their future to keep using those athletes, keep relying on them.
Well, Stanford able to break that 49 mark in every single event to lead to that 197 plus performance. But North Carolina got better and better from event to event, saving the best for last with the 49.1 to end things here for their trip out west. Any final thoughts, Casey?
I think, again, this meet was really a great sign of what they have of potential. They hit what they were able and capable of, just a few small details that I know those coaches are thinking of. I know they're going to be going back to the gym and cleaning up just a few things, but a really good sign from both teams that they have what it takes in the tank to hit the numbers that I think they're capable of, at least.
One very exciting moment for us to welcome in head coach Tabitha Yim after a fantastic performance here in Maples Pavilion. You broke 197 again, and you've done a great job in the ACC. You have home meets and away meets under your belt now. How are you feeling about this conference so far this season?
We're really excited to write this first chapter in the ACC conference, and it's been a great experience so far. And this week in particular was very challenging for our team, with the quick turnaround, competing at Pitt on Sunday, having midterms this week, and then having this home meet on Friday. Really shout out to everyone who came out to support the team tonight. I thought the energy in here was fantastic, and it makes a big difference for our athletes. And they showed a lot of resilience, mentally, physically, emotionally, to be able to come out here and put a good performance together. And so as a staff, we're just so proud of the progress that they continue to make. They've stayed humble, they've stayed hungry, and we feel like we still haven't hit our full potential. So looking to continue to grow, but certainly very proud of the squad and the staff and the team tonight.
Putting the student and student athletes as well. I like it.
I like it, Jenna.
That's how they do it here at Stanford. There's something magical about Maples for you this year. It's been 2 back-to-back great ones. How are you going to continue this momentum next week for your next competition?
Yeah, you know, we've really talked about, as a team, not focusing on the scores and the things that we can't control. And so, of course, we'll take the 197s. I'd like to thank you two as well, because I think you're a part of the magic in Maples here, so you got to come back for the rest of our home season. But certainly, you know, we're going to continue to focus on the things that we've been focusing on, really building our confidence in practice by getting after the quality work, really working on the little details, and then honing in on the landings as we progress further into season, and just continuing to cultivate the depth. It was great to see Terrelyn out there on floor in the exhibition spot. We have so much depth on all the events, and so they've really been competing for those spots, and I think that iron sharpens iron, and so we hope that they continue to do that.
Well, we feel like a broken record because between the last 2 meets here at Maples, it's been stick, 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 stick. That stick is covered from chalk from top to bottom, I think, from so many sticks.
Well, we hope that we continue that trend. Those freshmen keep bringing bigger and bigger sticks. At this point, they look less like sticks and more like trees. But if that's what it takes to get those sticks, then certainly we hope that we continue it and keep it going.
Trees are still on brand, so there's that.
That's true. That's true.
Well, thank you so much, Tabitha. It's been wonderful watching the program so far this season, and lots more gymnastics to come. Wishing you the best of luck the rest of this season.
Thanks so much. Go Card.
That was head coach Tabitha Yin after, once again, a 197-plus performance from the Cardinal, who get the win over North Carolina, 195-775. And if you want to stick around and see those awards being given out, stick with us. We're going to sign off, but in the meantime, you can watch. It'll be Sienna Robinson and Anna Roberts getting those titles and awards. But in the meantime, on behalf of our entire crew, my partner, Casey Magnuson, I'm Jenna Becerra saying so long from Stanford. Another great one here in Maples Pavilion.
All from Stanford, all with a score of 9875. Ava Sorrento, Kendra Chang, and Ana Paula Gutierrez. In second with a career-high 9925 from Stanford, Ui Soma. And with a new career high of 9950 from Stanford, Anna Roberts. To the balance beam we go in a 3-way tie for third place, each with a score of 9850 from North Carolina, Gwen Fink. From Stanford, Temple Landry, and from Stanford, Claire Dean. The score of 9925 in second on the balance beam from North Carolina, Jessica Naranjo. And with a new career high score of 9950 from Stanford, Sienna Robinson. And on floor exercise, 2-way tie for second place with a score of 9875 from North Carolina, Jojo Milahovic. And from Stanford, Ashley Carter. And the winner for floor exercise from Stanford with a 9900 score, Sienna Robinson. And our all-around results. In third, from Stanford with a score of 38675, Brenna Noltz. In second, from North Carolina with a score of 39.050, Julia Noer. And tonight's all-around champion with a score of 39.375 from Stanford, Anna Roberts. And the final score for tonight's meet, North Carolina, 195.775. And Stanford with a new season high of 197.250 and the winner of tonight's meets. Fans, that concludes tonight's competitions. Again, the selfies with the team begin shortly. Head on over to the line, beginning at the top of section 15 if you would like to participate. And we will see you right back here inside Maples Pavilion for a quad meet that includes UC Davis, Cal, and Oregon State.